Hi everyone, so in this video we're going to be looking at function of components. Now this is a type of question that we would see in part C of the exam, so that would be the analysis of a technical object. Now what they mean by function of components, it's basically you have your circuit and we're breaking down each of the elements in the circuit into 4, potentially 5 groups. So it's not a very difficult concept, but it's basically a concept that requires you to think about the different elements that you have in your electrical circuit into these distinct groups. And the distinct groups are the following. So the elements are your power supply. Now your power supply is really can be one or two items. It can either be the power supply box or your battery, which makes sense because these two elements are the ones that give your electrons the initial energy required to go throughout the circuit. The second element is also equally apparent, and this is only done by one element, and those things are the wires. So your wires are basically the elements that allow for conductance. Now remember, something that is conductive allows the flow of electrons. So the function of your circuit that allows for conductance is the part of the circuit that allows the electrons to travel, and there's only one thing: wires. Third thing, control. So again, there's only one element that functions as the control for your circuit, and those are your switches. That's the element that's going to enable if you have a closed circuit, so that the electrons are flowing through the circuit, or an open circuit, so that stops the flow of electrons. Now, number 4, this is the one where it makes sense, but a lot of people tend to have difficulty when they're looking at this. Energy transformation. So elements that are involved in energy transformation is any element that causes a change of energy. So when we're talking about a circuit, the initial form of energy is electrical energy, the movement of electrons, and it changes that into another form of energy, whether it be heat, so something that is a heater, whether it be radiant energy, so something that is a light bulb, or whether it be acoustic energy, so something that is producing sound, or mechanical energy, something that is producing motion. It doesn't matter what element that you have, but it's anything that changes the type of energy that you have. So this can be any element from something as simple as a light bulb. And again, your light bulb goes from initially electrical energy to radiant energy. A motor, so it would again start off with electrical energy and go to mechanical energy, which is a form of kinetic energy. Something like a heater goes from electrical energy to thermal energy, or a buzzer, again, electrical energy to acoustic energy. It doesn't matter which one of these, you just have to have energy changing forms. Now, the last one is protection, and that is only caused by two things, either a fuse or a breaker. And they both serve to protect the circuit. So a fuse, its entire function is if your current is too high, the fuse is basically a very, very thin filament which literally melts, causing a physical break in your circuit, cutting off all electricity. And this is actually really important because the fuse is usually going to have a lower current tolerance than any of your electrical components on your circuit, which is important because you want your fuse to burn out before any electrical equipment burns out, i.e. a computer. So if you ever have your computer plugged into a fuse protector, well, that's what it does. If you have too much current going into your circuit, it's going to basically fry your fuse protector before it can fry your computer. So that's basically what a fuse is. A breaker is, it works on the same concept, except that a breaker is, you can switch the breaker again when there's too much current overload. The fuse, you physically have to replace it. So what we're going to do right now is we're actually going to be looking at a circuit, and we're going to try and identify the elements in the circuit that are acting as the power supply function, the conductance function, the control function, the protection function, and the energy transformation function. Now, not all circuits are going to have all 5 of these functions. Most circuits will only have 4 out of the 5. The protection, if there's a fuse and a breaker, then there's protection. If there's no fuse and no breaker, then you don't have protection in the circuit. Okay, so here we have a very simple circuit. We have a very simple series circuit. And we're going to identify our different components. So the first one that we have is this right here, which acts as the function for power supply. The next obvious one is basically our wire, so this acts as a conductance. Here we have our switch, so this is our control. And our buzzer. So our buzzer is our energy transformation. And the reason why it's our energy transformation, because our initial form of energy is going to be electrical, because you have your electrons traveling from your power supply through the switch down into the buzzer, and as the electrons travel into the buzzer, it's transformed into acoustic sound, which is what we hear when the electrons go through it, and then of course the electrons go back to the power supply. I hope this helps, and see you next time.